Hello everybody, I am Triveni Sureshbabu, the Senior Trainer of Skillzenith Consulting. Today I am going to continue with the second part of the lesson, Karnataka State Board Class 10 Social Science History, lesson number 3, the impact of British rule in India, that is constitutional development. The British implemented various laws in India during the rule of East India Company. That means East India Company was looking after the administration of whole of India. So British government implemented various laws in India during the rule of East India Company. Some of the important acts are Regulating Act of 1773, Pittsinidaact 1784, Charter Acts of 1813 and 1833. British Government Acts 1858 to 1947. Some of the important acts which were passed from that time 1858 to 1947. That means till independence. Indian Government Act 1858, Indian Councils Act of 1861, Indian Councils Act of 1892, Indian Councils Act of 1909, Government of India Act of 1919, Government of India Act of 1930. In this video, you will learn about the following laws implemented during the rule of East India Company. That means what were the rules and regulation imposed in Indian soil during the East India Company rule. Regulating Act 1773, Pittsinidaact Act 1784, Charter Acts of 1813 and 1833. So you will learn in detail about each and every act. Now let us learn about the constitutional development. How the constitution developed from time to time. What were the acts passed by the British government? What were the changes brought in the administration of the country? Along with the British administration, problems also grew in India. Somebody is coming and ruling our country means naturally there will be some problems. So in the same way, when British started their administering in India, many problems also increased. In order to alleviate means lessen, decrease. In order to decrease the problems, reformation in administration became important. Reformation is sudaranegalo, changes, good changes. Sudaranegalo tarbekagutte. In order to deal with the problems, reformation in administration became very important for the British government. And these reformations are the changes, rules needed to address the demands of the Indian. These acts were passed to deal with the, address here means deal with the Indians. You know, we have already learned that there were many problems. So to cope up with the problems, British government passed many acts, many changes were brought about. The British tried to create different rules in the form of law and tried to implement them. Why the government, each and every country will enforce the law in order to control the whole of the country. ಶಾಸನಗಳು ಮಾಡದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ we cannot control all the states. So ಹಾಗೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ Indian government will pass many laws in order to control the whole of India. So the British also they tried to create different rules in the form of law. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಶಾಸನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ everybody will bow down before the law. The British tried to put into practice those laws. Implement means put into practice. These types of laws helped the evolution of constitution in India. Evolution means gradual development ಅಂತ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Evolution ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಧಾನವಾಗುವಂತ ಬದಲಾವಣೆಗಳು. Now changes are found in the Indian administration slowly. These laws helped the slow changes of the constitution in India. Now we shall study about the attempt in brief. That means how the acts helped in bringing about changes in India. Let us now study about the various laws implemented during the rule of East India Company. Up to certain time, East India Company was looking after the administration. Later on, it will be handed over to the Queen. You will learn in later chapters or in the later acts. So now, first let us learn about the various acts or the laws which were formed during the rule of East India Company, implemented and brought into force. Now let us learn about the Regulating Act of 1773. After the implementation of Diwani rights in 1765, That means yesterday we learned the right to collect the tax went into the hands of the East India Company. The greedy company officials, greedy means ದುರಾಸೆ, ತುಂಬಾ ದುರಾಸೆ ಇರೋದು greedy ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Greedy company officials misused the provision and became rich in a corrupt way. This point also we learned yesterday. Company officials began to amass wealth. They became corruptive. They began to become rich, not in good manner, by taking corruptions. Lancha, ಭ್ರಷ್ಟತನ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Corruption spiraled out. Spiraled ಅಂದ್ರೆ slowly increased everywhere. Continuously increase ಗೆ spiraled ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Spiraled out means continuously it is increasing, spreading everywhere. Edmond Burk, he was the member of the British Parliament, Britain alli. He criticized the corruption in the East India Company. Here you can look at the picture of the person. His name is Edmond Burk. He was the member of the British Parliament. He criticized the officials of the East India Company. He termed the tax payment received by the British government from the East India Company as criminal tax. He was of the opinion that whatever tax payments were received by the British government from the East India Company was criminal tax. Criminal ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಅದು ನ್ಯಾಯವಾದ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, it is against the law ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ದ. He was forced to criticize in this manner as the government remained silent to the fact of corruption among the company officials. Criminal tax ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಪರಾಧಿ ತಗೋತಾ ಇರೋದೇ ಅಪರಾಧ. That means not in a legal manner. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ತಗೋತಿಲ್ಲ ಈ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್. He was forced to criticize in this manner as the government remained silent to the fact of corruption among the company officials. The Britain government was not at all looking at these problems in the India, and they were not dealing with the problems in the East India Company regarding the collection of the payment. Many company officials had become super rich, and many in England feared that these people may upset the very political fabric of England. See, many company officials, East India Company officials, they became so rich, super rich andre eno, very very rich, and many in England, so the people in England feared that they had a fear that these rich officials in the East India Company may upset the very political fabric of England. Fabric antandre basic structure. Now if few people become very very rich, they may exert their influence in the society. Now you can observe in what is happening in India. If the people are very very rich, naturally they will have their hold on the society. They will try to control the other people. The same thing happened. England people also feared that East India Company officials may come in the way of the political fabric of England or structure of England, or they may enter in the political area. The Regulating Act was, so in order to set right these problems, the Regulating Act was implemented in this background in 1773, taking into consideration the corrective measures in the East India Company. The Regulating Act was passed in the year 1773. Regulating means the name itself, the word itself will tell you that control. In order to control the East India Company officials, Regulating Act was passed. Main features of this act. So before the implementation of the act, there were 3 big regions or the provinces, you can say. The British, they were calling it as presidencies. They were Bengal, Madras and Bombay. These 3 were the major centers, trade and commercial centers of the English in India. So there were 3 presidencies. All these 3, that means Bengal, Madras and Bombay, they were independent administrative units. Andre they were administered independently. ಒಂದೊಂದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ separate administration was there in all the 3 presidencies. Under Regulating Act, Act of 1773, the Bengal presidency gained control over the other 2 presidencies. Try to understand the point. So far, before the implementation of the Regulating Act, Bengal, Madras and Bombay, they were having their own administration separately. Now Bengal became head of the other three. That means the Bengal presidency, it began to control the other two presidencies. So now Bengal began to control Madras and Bombay. The governor of Bengal, Warren Hastings, so he was the governor of Bengal, he became the governor general. The name was changed from governor to governor general. Why we call it as governor general? Because the other two presidencies came under his administration. So he became general, means governor general of all the three presidencies. So we have learned that they were all the three presidencies were administered separately. Now all the three presidencies became one part of the administration, and Warren Hastings became the governor general. The third point is the governor general was authorized to direct, exercise control and to supervise over the other two presidencies. That means governor general was given the power to exercise control over the other two presidencies, that is Madras and Bombay. The Bombay and Madras presidencies could not declare war on anyone or enter into peace agreements without prior approval of the Governor General of Bengal presidency. Now see, the Bombay and Madras presidencies, they were completely under Governor General rule. Now, without taking his permission, they were not allowed to enter either into war or to peace agreements with any of the native rulers without taking the approval of the Governor General and the board of directors of the company. Here Governor General is there on one hand, and there are directors in the East India Company. So no political activities were allowed without taking the consent of the Governor General and the directors of the East India Company. Only during acute emergency, ಇನ್ನೇನು ತೀರಾ ಕ್ಲಿಷ್ಟಕರವಾದ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾರಾದರೂ ದಂಡೆಗೆ ಬಂದೇ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಏನಾದ್ರು ತುಂಬಾ ಕಷ್ಟ ಬಂತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ they were entitled to act independently. Otherwise, in ordinary situation, they were not at all allowed to have any sort or exercise any sort of control. No war, no peace agreement, no negotiation. They were to take the permission of the Governor General and the directors of the company. Fifth point is, according to this act, Supreme Court of Judicature, judicature means judicial system, was established in Calcutta. Whatever changes were brought during the British administration, during the initial stage, only Bombay, Madras and Calcutta were given importance because they were the centers of administration for the British government. In this central court, so the Supreme Court was established. It was called as the Central Court. One Chief Justice and 3 ordinary judges were there. Even today, one Chief Judge will be there, and under him there will be many judges. Now the numbers are increased, of course, but this type of judicial system we have borrowed from the British rule. In this Central Court, that means Supreme Court, there was one Chief Justice and 3 ordinary judges. Like this, as the name of the Regulating Act suggests, I told you that word regulating itself suggests that control. The act was aimed at controlling the company affairs and its administration in India. Why? The company officials were becoming corruptive, they were becoming rich, they began to exercise their own power in India, so they are becoming more and more powerful. So the Regulating Act was paused. Now let us move on to the next important act, Pittsinidaact Act. There were many inconsistencies. Inconsistencies means there were many problems, drawbacks, you can say. There were many inconsistencies. There was no clear-cut informations in the Regulating Act of 1773. Inconsistency, you can say incompatible, not harmonizing with way, or it was irregular, you can say, not satisfied. In order to rectify them, rectify வந்து சரி ಮಾಡೋದು, in order to set right them and also to clearly outline the powers of the East India Company. Outline means say, mention the powers of the East India Company and the British government. Pittsinidaact Act was implemented. Now British government is also interfering. there is Governor General, there are East India Company officials, directors, they are all involved in the administration. So this act wanted to put a correct line and what were the authorities of the each and every administrative persons. The government of England restricted the powers of the East India Company. Now the government of England came to know that the company officials were very corruptive. They are involved in correcting the more taxes and amassing wealth. So the government of England wanted to restrict the powers of the East India Company. They wanted to decrease the powers of the officials of the East India Company. A new institution named Board of Controllers consisting of 6 commissioners was started. Very easy method to remember this point is Board of Control, 6 commissioners. See, new institution, a new organization was started. It was called as Board of Controllers. It consisted of 6 commissioners. The Board of Controllers replaced the Board of Directors. So we studied that there was a Board of Directors. Now there are Board of Controllers to have more control over the East India Company. This board had powers to direct and control the issues, problems or matters related to land taxes, military and civil areas. See, the Board of Control, it could exercise its power and interfere in the matters of the land tax, military matters and civil areas. The Board of Control came into existence in the place of Board of Directors. Board of Directors was cancelled almost. Now the entire power came into the hands of the Board of Control. This act declared that the Indians have attained their paramount power. Paramount power means supreme or superior. This act declared that the Indians have attained their paramount power, superior power in the name of the British Empire only, but not on their own, and curtailed the political rights of Indians conclusively. See, conclusively means completely. So, see what happened? This act said that it criticized the Indians. It was of the opinion that the Indians have attained their power in the name of the British Empire. They are shining because we are here, not on their own. No Indians are intelligent. They are not showing their power or intelligence on their own. Because government is there, they are there and curtailed the political rights of the Indians. So almost all the rights, political rights of the Indians were completely cut down or curtailed. It declared that the areas under the possession of the East India Company are the integral part of the British Empire. Now a declaration was given. See, Nam Desha, Nam Nadu, Enagoitu, East India, whatever the areas were there under the East India Company, it belongs to the British Empire of the declaration. Integral, inseparable part of the British Empire. So all Indian states which were under the East India Company rule now belongs to British Empire. Nobody should question this. Yes, the government of England is ultimate ruler of India. Now by the end of this act, the government of England became the ultimate ruler of India. There was no unquestionable supreme power or the supreme ruler of India. There was nobody, almost all the rulers were subjugated. They were exploited. All the states were taken under the administration of the Britain government. Now let us learn about the Charters Act. The main aim of Charter Acts was to renew the license of the East India Company. See, what happened? Charter means you can say law. Shasana ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅದನ್ನ charter ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. The main aim of passing or bringing into force the Charter Acts were to renew the license of the East India Company. See, ನಿಮಗೆ ಡ್ರೈವಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಫಾರ್ ಬೇಕಾದಷ್ಟು ಟ್ರೇಡ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಆರ್ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಕ್ಕೆ ಟು ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಗಿವನ್ ಲೈಸೆನ್ಸ್. ಇವನ್ ಟುಡೇ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್. ಹಾಗೆ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಬ್ರಿಟನ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿರುತ್ತೆ ಆರ್ ಇಂಗ್ಲೆಂಡ್, they had given the license to East India Company to trade in India for some years and some concessions were given, some powers were given. The Charter Acts were passed in the year continuously 1793, 1813, 1833 and 1853. They were implemented to achieve this aim. That means renew the license of the East India Company. ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, again were they allowed to given the power to trade, what were the powers to discriminate or to tell clearly about the power of the East India Company. Charter Acts were passed. As and when the charters were implemented once in 20 years, the new rules and regulations found fit by the British government was included in these acts. As and when means now and then, again and again, many acts were implemented once in 20 years. The new rules and regulations which were fit means which were suitable for the company or for the Indian administration made by the British government was included in these acts. That means British government now and then frequently they made so many acts on the charters looking into the changed developments in the East India Company and the administration. Among these, the Charter Acts of 1813 and 1833 are important for many reasons. So when you learn about the provisions of the Act, you will learn about the importance of these two acts. Now let us learn about the Charter Act of 1813. This act licensed the East India Company to stay for another 20 years in India. Before this act, they were allowed to stay for some 20 years. Now this act said that East India Company can stay in India. It could stay in India for another 20 years. Before the implementation of this act, a demand to allow any interested person to carry out trade in India was there. Before the implementation of this act, ಈ ಶಾಸನ ತರಕ್ ಮುಂಚೆ a demand to allow any interested person to carry out trade in India was there. So some persons who were interested to have trade, they were allowed, but many traders were allowed in India to have trade contacts. Now slowly that power is also taken by the government, British government. This act allowed, this demanded. Now some persons who were very much interested to have trade, they were allowed. This act allowed this demand and authorized all interested persons to carry out trade in India. Andre not for Indians. Here the Britain in the yaradru bandu illi any British citizens were allowed to had interest in trade. They were allowed to come in India. So this demand and authorized all interested persons to carry out trade. England alone declaration ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ರು. We have passed the 1813 Charter Act. Anybody who is interested to trade in India, you can go and have trade contact, carry the trade. With this act, the free trade era started in India. That means era means yuga ಅಥವಾ age ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Free trade was started in India. A new era of license and authorization started. License and authorization. Giving power to somebody is called authorization. See, I'll give you an example. Authorization, headmistress will be given authorization to pass some rules and regulations in the schools. Fees sign ಮಾಡೋದು ಕಾರ್ಡ್ಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. As and when she feels that some rules and regulations are needed for the good of the institution. ಆಮೇಲೆ license you know very well. Drivingಗೆ, tradeಗೆಲ್ಲ license ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. Now and then it should be renewed. Some powers will be given. So this act started a new era of two words are given importance, license and authorization, giving power and license. The board of directors was vested with the powers to appoint the Governor General and the Commander in Chief. Now army is also very important because they want to protect their areas. The board of directors were given the powers to appoint the Governor General and the Commander in Chief of the army. This power was given to the board of directors. Fourth point is the churches were allowed to enter India officially. Officially means with the permission, with some prescribed rules and regulation. Churches were allowed to enter India from the England. The Christian missionaries were directed to enrich the knowledge of Indians and also enhance the moral and spiritual life of Indians. Christian missionaries ಅಂದ್ರೆ associations ಒಂದು ಸಂಘ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ ಅವರು. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲೇ ಬಂದಿದ್ದು. when they came here they started so many schools. Even today they are running Christian missionaries. ಬೇಕಾದಷ್ಟು schools ಇದೆ, Christian schools, colleges, medical colleges. So they were all started during the British rule. Even today, after centuries, it is running. It came to enrich the knowledge of Indians. Because Indians, one drawback in the Indian education was that only few Indians were getting the education and limited subjects. There was no broad-mindedness, no scientific outlook. So the moral and spiritual life. Now the British government entered into the moral and spiritual life of the Indians. They wanted to increase the moral and spiritual power of the Indians. Many Christian missionaries started arriving in India after this act. I told you many Christian missionaries, they came. Many were converted. Also, conversion was also there. They contributed for the health, education and all. Our contribution is very rich in the field of education and health because they started many schools and colleges, hospitals, etc. Christian missionaries were vested with the powers to give service in the field of education. The expansion of Christianity and English education started taking place. You'll notice two things are happening at a time parallelly. One kade expansion of the Christianity is increasing. So many people in India, they were converted. Christianity became more and more popular. And on the other hand, English education is also spreading in India. Because of these developments, the Charter Act of 1813 is a historic act. ಅದು ಒಂದು ಐತಿಹಾಸಿಕ ಘಟನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಐತಿಹಾಸಿಕದೊಂದು ಶಾಸನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಸೋ ಮಚ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ because Christian missionaries came to India, started many schools and colleges. Indians began to get the modern education, English education, their way of outlook changed. That's why 1813 is called as a historic act. You will be asked a question in the exam. Why the Charter Act of 1830 is considered as a historic act? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಅದರ ಪ್ರಾವಿಷನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ವಾಚಿಂಗ್. ಐ ಹೋಪ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್ ದ ಲೆಸನ್. ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊತೀನಿ. Please watch, share, comment and subscribe. Soon I will be back with the other part of the lesson. Thank you.